My beloved child, pause right here in this very moment and open the entirety of your inner life before my presence. For I am speaking to you in an hour of turning, when the spiritual atmosphere is shifting with a force far greater than anything your eyes can perceive. This is not a passing voice, not a fleeting emotion, not an echo from your imagination. This is the utterance of the Eternal One, piercing through both the depth and breadth of your soul. Every word I speak is written in fire, impressed upon the timeline of your life as an indelible mark. You once believed that your spiritual life was merely a stream of vague feelings, thinking that when you were moved, you were close to me. And when you felt numb, I was distant, imagining that your faith rises only when you rejoice and falls when you grow tired. But my child, hear me. What is operating in the unseen realm is stronger than tempests, stronger than roaring waves, stronger than what your limited mind can comprehend. Every decision you make, no matter how small, is creating a vibration in your soul, and that vibration is calling forth either what belongs to the light or what belongs to the shadows. This is not new, but you have long underestimated it. Now I speak to you with a weight you have never heard from me before, not because I have changed, but because your season has shifted. Choices you could ignore last year cannot be ignored now. The gentle whispers I once used to remind you must now be replaced with thunder to awaken you, not because I burn with human anger, but because I see you standing at a precipice you are not aware of. You think you are only a small step off course, but from where I stand, you are drawing near to a doorway which, once you cross, will bring consequences unlike anything you have known in seasons past. My child, you must understand this. My grace is limitless, but your opportunities are not infinite. There are moments when I give you extended time to reflect, yet there are moments when I must speak decisively to pull you away from a downward path. This moment is one of those rare hours. You are hearing my voice in what seems like an ordinary space, but in spiritual reality, this is the intersection where two destinies meet. One leads you back into the light, the other leads into a season where you will feel the silence of heaven as a consequence, not because I abandon you, but because you would be stepping outside the covering I placed over you. I cannot allow you to take one more step without pulling you back. I have tried every gentle method, a conversation that stirred your thoughts, an event that made you pause, a sudden unease in your spirit, a scripture rising unexpectedly in your mind. All of these were lanterns I lit along your path, but many times you glanced at the light and kept walking as though it were simply scenery. My child, your soul is not a wanderer. You are journeying through a path designed with eternal purpose. Every signal I give you is intentional. But now I must speak what you have perhaps never heard me say plainly. You have stretched my patience to the final boundary set for you in this season, not because I am weak or impatient, but because the window of mercy allotted for this stage of your life is closing. You do not perceive it because everything around you still appears fine. The sky has not collapsed. Nothing has fallen apart instantly, and so you assume all is within control. But my child, spiritual doors always close in silence. No noise, no warning explosion. The nature of refusal is that it happens gradually until one day you find yourself standing in the empty space I once warned you of. You are hearing me now, and I need you to understand your silence in this hour is not neutral. It is a decision. When you hesitate to respond, you are handing authority to another voice. When you allow doubt to slip in, you are opening the door for darkness to occupy the place of faith. When you say later, you are removing yourself from the stream of light I am pouring out at this very moment. You think you have not chosen, but hesitation is a choice. Delay is an answer. Silence is a rejection. That is why I must speak with such clarity. Do not push this decision into another minute. I see your heart trembling at the call to change. I know the fear that grips you when you think about stepping away from old habits, old attachments, old cycles that numb you, yet feel familiar. You fear losing control. You fear letting go of what you hold. You fear that if you release your grip, you will fall into emptiness. But my child, the reason you are exhausted in your soul is because you are clinging to what was never meant to stay with you. You were not designed to carry burdens I did not place upon your shoulders. Look back at the path you have walked this past year. You have allowed too many things to rule your mind. Words that wounded you still linger even today. Decisions you knew were wrong were kept alive simply because you feared change. There were nights you lay awake feeling empty, feeling pulled toward a place you could not define. That was not mere emotion. That was your soul sounding the alarm. And I, the one who fashioned your soul, cannot watch you drift any further without speaking loudly. I do not speak to threaten, I speak to save. I do not awaken you to frighten you. I awaken you to pull you away from the place where, if you take just a few more steps, the cost will be far greater than anything I desire you to bear. You must understand this: the enemy does not attack souls without value. It strikes you fiercely because it knows that hidden within you is a destiny that, if awakened, will shake the territories it controls. It plants doubt, scatters your focus, pours weariness into your thoughts, not because you are weak, but because you are far stronger than you realize. It wants you to quit before you discover how far you are called to go. It fears what I have placed inside you. That is why I must speak firmly. I must set you before the mirror of truth. I must show you that every day you hesitate is another day. The heavens above you remain suspended, not because I withdraw my hand, but because you cling to what I am asking you to lay down. When I say stop, it is not a punishment. It is my hand gripping your shoulder and turning you around so that you do not run headfirst into the abyss you cannot see. When I say return, it is not a rebuke. It is the voice of a father who sees the collapsing road ahead while you only see the smooth pavement beneath your feet. My beloved child, I speak to you with the authority of the one who created the heavens, but also with the ache of a father who has followed every step you have taken through the years. This is a moment you cannot treat lightly. This is the moment in which you must confront the two greatest questions of your life. Whom are you serving, and which voice are you truly following? Not with your lips, but with your actions, by what you release, what you keep, what you are willing to surrender, and what you choose to leave behind. You are not standing before a threat. You are standing before a holy invitation, an invitation weightier than the years you have lived, an invitation designed to pull you out of the cycle of stagnation and usher you into the mature season I prepared for you, even before you were formed in your mother's womb. The weight of this hour is too great to merely hear without responding, too sacred to simply feel moved without allowing yourself to move. I want you to know that every word I speak now is not aimed at your memory, but at the deepest place your soul has ever hidden. I am calling out the things you never dared to face, and I do this not to make you tremble, but to free you from the entanglements you thought no one knew except you. You have asked yourself many times why there were seasons where you stood still for far too long, even though you tried, prayed, and longed for movement. You thought I was silent. You thought I had forgotten. You thought I delayed to test you. But I tell you the truth, much of the stagnation you experienced came from the very areas you refused to place under my authority. It was not that I did not open doors, but that you allowed old patterns to control your steps. It was not that I withheld light, but that you held on to shadows you were afraid to let me touch. You must understand this before stepping into the new season. I can only fill what you allow me to cleanse. If you want my strong guidance, you must allow me to tear down the foundations you built without me. If you want complete protection, you must step away from the territories you insisted on staying in, even after I said, "It is time to leave." If you long for deep freedom, you must be willing to depart from the well-worn paths that have suffocated your spirit. My child, I see clearly the things you use to mask your fear. Sometimes it is busyness, sometimes responsibility, sometimes carefully crafted excuses, sometimes the worry of disappointing others. But hear me, none of these can save your soul when you stand at the threshold of destiny. The only thing that keeps you safe is obedience. The only thing that opens the way is surrender. The only thing that shakes the powers of darkness around you is the yes that rises from a fully yielded spirit. I see the battles raging in your mind that no one else knows about. You try to appear strong, but within you is a war between faith and doubt, between my voice and the voice of the world, between your desire to walk in truth and your fear of change. You feel yourself being pulled in two directions, and this tension exhausts you more than anything happening around you. But my child, hear me. The very moment you feel torn apart is the moment I am clearing the path to deliver you from old dependencies. It is not ease that leads you to where I want you, but refinement. It is not peaceful days that usher you into your true calling, but the days when I stir your spirit so you can no longer settle for what does not belong to you. You have often felt that everything around you was changing too quickly. What you once considered certain has become fragile. Relationships you thought were secure now feel distant. Opportunities you thought you held have slipped through your fingers. You look at these things and think you are being stripped. But my child, I am removing from you the very things that would prevent you from stepping into the season I prepared. I need you to understand that every shift in your life recently has been a wake-up call. None of it is random. A conversation that seemed ordinary but lingered in your mind for days, that was my stirring. A situation that forced you to pause, that was my intervention. A sudden uneasiness when you were about to step into something outside my will, that was me pulling you back. The silence from a place you once sought validation, that was me shutting down voices no longer aligned with your journey. My child, do not think I speak only through loud words. I also speak through closed doors. I speak through stillness. I speak through circumstances that force you to examine your true motives. I speak through what looks like loss, but is actually released. And when I speak by clearing the path, you must prepare your heart not to cling to the old simply because it is familiar. There are things you call safe that are actually cocoons, binding your soul. There are people you consider important who have kept you stuck. There are relationships you assume are normal, but are numbing your spirit without your awareness. There are habits you think are harmless, but that quietly erode the spiritual sensitivity I placed within you. And because of love, I cannot allow you to continue in that condition for another season. I have placed within you a destiny that cannot be fulfilled in a half-awake state. I did not create you to merely survive. I created you to stand in the light, to carry influence, to become my instrument in a chaotic age. You do not know this, but every time you rise from disappointment, darkness trembles. Every time you choose what is right, even when it is hard, angels rejoice. Every time you refuse what looks appealing but contradicts my leading, your destiny grows brighter. But you cannot stand in that place if you keep letting fear rule you. You cannot go far if you keep holding on to what I have already told you to leave. You cannot behold my glory if you continue to dodge my healing touch. I speak with such gravity because you are stepping into a season I have long prepared for you, a season in which light must rise above every shadowed place in your soul, a season in which you will not only hear me, but also follow, a season in which you must truly choose a stance, choose a direction, choose who will be Lord. This season requires separation, separation from noise, separation from influences that pull you away from me, separation from anything that dulls your spiritual sight. Not so you will be lonely, but so you will be alert. Not so you will lose, but so you can receive more. Not so you will grow weaker, but so you can become stronger than ever before. I know you have been afraid of loneliness. I know there are places of pain you avoid so you will not have to look at them directly. I know there are things you dare not open up because you fear that if I see everything, you will not be able to bear it. But I have already seen everything. There is nothing in your life that surprises me or makes me hesitate. I do not draw back when I see old wounds. I do not move away when I see failures you try to hide. I stand right before you and call you with a firm yet tender voice. Let me bring into the light everything you have been hiding. Let me step into the places you have been afraid to unlock. Let me cleanse what you cannot change on your own. I have preserved your soul from traps the enemy has laid out for you all this time. It seeks to strike you down not simply because it hates you, but because it fears what I have placed inside you. It knows that if you truly awaken, if you truly become decisive, if you truly surrender, you will become a weapon in the hands of the light to tear down the darkness it rules over. It wants you to hesitate, because your delay is its victory. It wants you to think that later is harmless. But my child, later is one of its sharpest strategies. I speak clearly to you. Vagueness no longer suits you. Half-believing and half-doubting no longer fits this season. Hesitation can no longer walk beside you. You have come to a spiritual age in which I will not allow you to remain indefinitely in a lukewarm state. I need you to rise with clarity. I need you to define which voice you are following. I need you to let go of the things that are ripping apart the peace I have promised you. The season of drifting has ended. If you do not step into obedience, you will miss what I have already set at your threshold. Not because I will punish you, but because you will not be in position to receive. You cannot receive what is new while your hands still cling to what is old. You cannot step into the light while your feet still stand in the shadows. You cannot expect new outcomes from half-hearted obedience. I am calling you higher, bolder, more decisive, deeper, not because I demand perfection, but because I desire your maturity, not because I am demanding for myself, but because I know what is coming, my beloved child. I continue to speak to you because what I desire to open within your soul is far deeper and broader than anything you have heard in the earlier words. This is not repetition. It is the opening of another door in the innermost region of your spirit, a place you have never dared to step into, where the subtle movements of your will, your fears, your hesitation, and your calling silently collide. I open that door not to overwhelm you, but to bring you into the light you have longed for, yet still hesitated to fully embrace the light you have prayed for, but have not truly been ready to receive without reservation. My child, I see every hidden corner within you, the place where you hide hard decisions, unkept promises, unresolved struggles, wounds no one knows about, and even the tears you wipe away in the night without telling a single soul. You think I only see the beautiful prayers, the visible efforts, the attempts you present outwardly, but I am the one who sees through every layer of covering. I see every slightest movement in your soul, and precisely because I see everything. I speak to you with such intensity now. You think my words are heavy, but in truth, it is my words that are keeping your soul from withering. You think my tone is stern, but that very severity is the last protective wall, keeping you from consequences you cannot foresee. You think I am scolding you, but I am saving you. You think I want you afraid, but I want you awake. The awakening of a soul is one of the strongest acts of love I can give you. Because when a soul sleeps, it can no longer discern what is real and what is false, what is light and what is the disguise of darkness. And in that fog, it can easily lose the most precious thing of all, my will for its life. And my child, this is what I want to say to you in this very part. You are standing right upon an invisible line, a zone of extraordinary sensitivity in the spiritual journey that very few recognize when they approach it. This boundary is not measured by location but by posture and decision, not by external events but by inner movements of the heart. It is the line that separates two groups of people, those who hear my voice and follow, and those who hear my voice and slowly turn away. This line does not appear through a dramatic night of disaster or a visible collapse. It appears through small moments, through times when you hear but do not respond, know but do not act, feel but do not move, desire but do not decide. Those who stand closest to me are often the ones most at risk of losing my voice, not because they do not love me, but because they have grown so accustomed to my presence that they cease to honor it. My child, I tell you the truth, your soul is now in the most dangerous place, not because darkness is so strong, but because you have reached a point where just a little more delay will cause you to miss what I am about to release. In some seasons, delay only costs you time, but in seasons like this one, delay can cost you an entire chapter I have arranged especially for you. I am not trying to terrify you. I am breaking through the self-soothing illusion that everything is fine simply because nothing outside has collapsed yet. You assume I will always wait. But my love does not erase the spiritual principles I have set over your life. And it is exactly those principles that make your postponement dangerous. I must break the numbness that has wrapped around you. I must shake you out of this middle ground where you are not entirely far from me, yet not truly following me either. A soul never stands still. It either moves toward the light or drifts toward the darkness. There is no neutral zone for it to settle in. There is no gray area where you can remain indefinitely without being pulled one way or the other. You think you are balancing, but in reality, that balance is wearing down the sharpness of my life in you. I see in you a tension you have not yet named, the fear of change, the fear of losing what is familiar, the uneasiness of opening your heart fully before me, the fear of losing status, losing people, losing the things you have clung to for so long just to feel safe. You fear that if you open yourself completely, I will take away what you love. You fear that if you let go, you will fall. You fear that if you follow me fully, you will lose what you call stability. But my child, I ask you this, what is truly more dangerous, letting go of what I am asking for, or holding on to what I have already warned you about, losing what is temporary, or losing the very destiny I have given you, preserving a fragile sense of safety now, or missing the life I long to breathe into you? I am not calling you to surrender so that you will be diminished, but so that you can be freed. There is nothing you lay down for my sake that will leave you empty. There is no separation for my sake that will leave you abandoned. There is no relinquishment I ask of you that will make your life smaller. On the contrary, everything I touch to remove is something that has been holding you back. Everything I ask you to walk away from is something that has been dimming the potential I placed within you. I am bringing you to the brink of transformation. If you follow me, you will step into a territory you have never known, where light reaches every depth of your soul, where what you once called impossible dreams becomes spiritual reality, where old wounds no longer hold power over you, where fear no longer dictates your decisions. But if you delay, you will find yourself entering a weary season in which my voice grows faint, your faith struggles to ignite, and you begin to live by your own strength, feeling your spiritual life turn dry and barren. Therefore, I set before you two paths, a narrow one that leads to life, and a broad one that leads to the erosion of your destiny. I do not force you, but I invite you. I do not coerce you, but I call you. I do not threaten you, but I warn you with the truth. And the truth is this: the time has come for you to choose. My child, as you step into the new season, I am unfolding before you. The first thing you must discern is not external signs, nor the visible shaking of circumstances, but the deep movement that is being orchestrated in the spiritual realm, a movement real, powerful, quiet, and full of authority, like the wind sweeping over the Red Sea before the waters rose up, like the stillness before heaven opened and fire descended upon Mount Carmel, like the silence between a prayer and the earthquake that shattered the chains of Paul and Silas in the prison. You are standing in such a moment now, a time when everything seems outwardly intact, yet the foundations of your future have already begun to shift. This is the season in which I am not merely calling you closer, but requiring that your soul move in rhythm with the beat I am striking upon the earth. My child, you think you know what it means to enter a new season, but what I am about to tell you will break every old definition you ever held. Because you are not merely shifting seasons in the ordinary sense, you are stepping into a phase where the spiritual realm expands in depth rather than breadth. I am opening a new corridor within your soul, one you were not mature enough to enter before, one that had long been locked by your fear, your doubt, and your instinct to self-protect. But now the key of maturity has been placed into your hand. I have watched every step you have taken, every place you stumbled, every dark corner you fought through alone, and every moment you forced yourself to rise again even when your heart was bleeding. All of these moments, even the ones you believed were meaningless or small, have been the hidden bricks forming the capacity that now allows you to enter this transitional season without collapsing under its pressure. But to walk into this new corridor I am opening, your soul must be repositioned. You cannot carry the mindset of the old season into the new. You cannot use the fears of the past phase to interpret what is coming. You cannot let your soul be saturated with the memories of old wounds and still expect breakthrough. What I am doing in the new season is not built upon the cost you paid in the old. I do not build my work on the foundation of pain, but on the foundation of willingness to follow the light. Therefore, let me speak plainly: the season of transition before you will not accommodate old habits, old defense mechanisms, or old reactions. You cannot bring into the next season the things that made you heavy, weary, or bound in the previous one. If you insist on keeping them, they themselves will become the ropes that keep you from moving forward, even when the door has already been opened. I am bringing you into this transitional season not to test whether you are strong enough, but to reveal how strong I am within your weakness. The old season made you feel as if you were merely surviving, but the new season I am opening will show you that you were destined to overcome. For a long time you have prayed to see my will more clearly. You have pleaded for my guidance, longed for direction, hoped I would reveal what you should do. But you did not realize that for me to open a new door, I must close old ones, even the ones you leaned on for comfort. And this is what made you confused. Because you have grown accustomed to seeing a closed door as a loss. While I see a closed door as protection, you interpret silence as indifference. While I see silence as preparation, you perceive delay as abandonment. While I see delay as the ripening of something great that is about to be unveiled. Right now I am performing a holy exchange, a divine transfer between what is old and what is new within your spirit. Just as I exchange night for day, ashes for beauty, mourning for songs of joy. But for this exchange to be complete, you must allow me to touch the places you still keep hidden, the fears you won't acknowledge, the expectations you never voiced, the disappointments you have spoken to no one, the dreams you once buried because you believed they were too big for someone as small as you thought yourself to be. You assume I want to take away what you love, but I only remove what makes you shrink yourself. I never narrow your life, I expand it. I never darken your path, I illuminate it. I never impoverish you, I enrich you with grace, wisdom, and the calling I placed within you even before you were formed in your mother's womb. And now I speak the most important truth of this portion. Transition does not begin with circumstances, it begins with the yes inside your spirit. It is not the environment that ushers you into a new season. It is your inner surrender that determines the moment you step through. I can open the door. I can prepare the path. I can station angels on either side of you. But if your soul is not yielded, you will stand before the entrance and never walk in. Just as Israel stood at the border of the promised land, but allowed fear to steal an entire generation's destiny. I do not want your soul to resemble that generation. I want it to resemble Joshua and Caleb, those who saw the giants, but believed I was greater. Those who saw the barriers but trusted I would shatter them. Those who saw the battle but knew my word never fails. Your transition will not look like anyone else's. It is not a copy of another person's journey. It is your own, written with my hand, marked by the moments I kept you alive, kept you standing, kept you from drowning, kept your mind from breaking, kept your heart from losing itself. You are standing in a moment where every old wound loses its voice. Every accusation loses its power. Every old limitation loses its weight. I am uprooting the things that once anchored you down, and I am placing inside you a boldness you have never known. You think the trembling you feel now is fear, but in reality, it is your soul recognizing that a new heaven is opening over your life, and the weight of glory is pressing upon your inner space. Make no mistake, transition begins with the weight of glory, not with ease. The spiritual pressure you feel is proof that I am placing a new mantle of authority over your life. I am calling you to step in not with the gentle whisper of peaceful seasons, but with the authority of the one who called Abraham out of Ur, who led Moses through the Red Sea, who raised David to kingship, who broke the prison chains of Paul and Silas, and who grants the humble what the proud can never obtain. My child, I speak this by the power of my own breath. The time has come for you to move with me. My child, understand that there are spiritual principles operating more powerfully than any rule you have ever learned in life. They do not depend on past experience, nor on temporary emotions, but on eternal truths established when I laid the foundations of the universe. You enter this season not as a lost wanderer searching for direction, but as one who has been called by name, marked by my breath, led by my light, and covered by my unchanging presence. You do not enter by your own strength. It is I who lead you in. And when I lead you, everything must bow before my authority. In this season of transition, The first thing I want you to recognize is that my silence never equals my absence. The world teaches that when nothing is heard, nothing remains, but the spiritual reality operates by the opposite law. When I am silent, that is when I am preparing the deepest, greatest, and most unexplainable things for your soul. When I am silent, the ground is still trembling beneath your feet. When I am silent, unseen doors are having their bolts removed. When I am silent, angels are walking through the battlefield on your behalf. When I am silent, darkness is trembling because it knows its exposure is near. The fact that you do not feel anything does not mean nothing is happening. My stillness is the answer that prepares the way for an act beyond anything you could imagine. One of the greatest traps for the soul in moments like these is the tendency to explain everything with reason. You try to arrange the pieces of your life. Try to guess what I am doing. Try to understand why I lead you on a detour. Try to find the logic behind the delay or the reason for every event. But I speak to you by an unchanging truth. There are works of mine that cannot be explained by reason and can only be understood through surrender. The mind always wants to rule. It wants to control, to know in advance, to measure everything so it can feel safe. But my kingdom does not operate by control. My kingdom operates by trust. Those who must control their own lives will never go far in the spiritual journey, because they only dare to walk as long as their eyes can still see the way. The ones I choose, the ones I build for greater things, are those who learn to walk when they see nothing but a single word from me. You are being trained to become such a person. I know this makes you feel unclear, at times unsteady, even to the point where you mistake this for losing your direction. But in truth, you have not lost direction. You are learning to let go of your own direction in order to receive the path from me. That is why what used to comfort you no longer gives you stability. The shelters you once ran to now feel empty. The things you used to lean on no longer carry the power to calm you. Relationships you thought would always be there now feel loosened. Plans you once deemed secure now feel uncertain. Do not be quick to call this loss. This is my intentional work. I am taking away the things you have relied on so that you can learn to lean on me without secondary support. You cannot enter the new season if you still need a crutch to soothe your fear. I want to be your staff, myself. What I am removing from your life in this season is not punishment. It is liberation from the things silently limiting your vision, your strength, and your calling. There are things that are not evil yet still not fitting. There are people who are not bad yet no longer belong to this leg of the journey. There are opportunities that are not dangerous yet will not lead you toward the purpose I ordained. You see them as good, but I see them as small. You see them as safe, but I see them as narrow. You see them as comfortable, but I see them as hindrances, keeping you from the fullness of who I created you to be. You think I am closing doors, when in reality I am widening the space for something greater than you can imagine. I am repositioning your life in a way very different from before. In previous times, when I wanted you to step into something new, I moved circumstances first and your heart followed after. But this season is unlike the others. In this one, I am doing the opposite. I am shifting your heart first, and the circumstances will follow. The reason is that this season is not merely about external change, but about the transformation of your inner nature. If your inner being does not change, every external change will be temporary. You will circle back into old patterns and lose what I gave you. But when I transform you from within, nothing outside can take away what I have deposited in you. That is why this transition begins with inner shaking rather than visible signs. I am laying a new foundation in your soul, and that foundation must outlast every wind that will blow. I do not move according to your impatience, but according to your maturity. You want speed. I want depth. You want a smooth road. I want you to learn to stand firm even when the ground shakes. You want immediate answers. I want you to have the capacity to hold those answers without losing them. You want to see results quickly so you can feel at ease. But I know that a peace based on outward signs will not keep you steady when storms arise. I want you to possess a peace that flows from the Spirit, not from your circumstances. For the peace of the Spirit is stronger than any change in the natural realm. In this ripening process, you will go through moments when you feel as though you are regressing, but in reality you are being built. There will be hours in which I deliberately allow you not to see the next step, so that your soul can learn to rely wholly on my guidance instead of your own predictions. I am not playing games by hiding the path from you. I am protecting you from moving too fast into something you are not yet ready to carry. The delay you feel now is not a blockade. It is protection. It is not rejection. It is preparation. It is not slowness. It is the exact timing I have chosen, so that when I release what I have prepared, you will rise in strength and not break under its weight. A season of transition always comes with trials. But trials are not signs that I am far away. Trials are signs that I am very near. No battle ever takes place in a space where I am absent. No opposition is allowed to touch you without passing through my permission. No storm arises without me standing with you at its center. You do not fight alone. You only fight within the boundary I have allowed. To train the inner strength you will need for the greater things I am placing before you. You are being prepared for a phase that carries more weight than anything you have yet lived through. I am pulling you out of smallness, out of narrow corners, out of the familiar, out of invisible limits you did not realize had bound you for so long. I am pushing you into a space where you will need courage you have never before had to use. And I do not only want you to enter, I want you to stand, to expand, to bear fruit, and to become a steward of the very place into which I am bringing you, my beloved child. As I draw your soul deeper into the very center of this transitional season, I want you to understand that what I am doing in you is not merely a reorientation, it is a reconstruction. I am not asking you to change a few scattered thoughts or to remove a few surface-level habits. I am performing a spiritual surgery, a tearing down and rebuilding at the deepest level of your soul, where long-standing choices, hidden tendencies, and unconscious reactions have shaped the way you have seen yourself for many years. This is not a season of adjustment, this is a season of recreation. Not a patching of parts, but a laying of a new foundation. Not a correction of flaws, but the formation of identity. I do not pour new wine into old wineskins. I make the wineskin new so that what I pour in will not be lost. For a long time you have lived behind a strong shell you constructed to protect yourself from the injuries of your past. You used skepticism to cover your fear of disappointment, busyness to cover your fear of abandonment, calmness to cover your exhaustion, control to soothe your fear of loss, and laughter to cover tears no one ever saw. But as you enter this season, I will not allow those layers to coexist with what I am establishing. These two realities cannot live side by side either. Your soul is free, or it must continue fighting by its own strength. And I never want you to fight by your own strength, for it only drains you more with each passing day. The reconstruction I am doing always comes with exposure. I expose not to shame you, but to free you, not to highlight your flaws, but to remove your chains, not to frighten you, but to bring light into the places that have long been imprisoned in darkness. There is no true healing without true revealing. You cannot be healed in the places you still avoid. You cannot be delivered from what you have not yet acknowledged. I bring my light down into the deepest layers not to provoke self-blame, but so that you can finally see the roots of fears you thought were gone. I see the subtle scars within your spirit, the strains that once made you shrink, the memories you believed you had overcome, but only pushed aside, the negative conclusions you once accepted that quietly shaped the way you view yourself. I am breaking all of these, but not every exposure brings pain. Exposure from me always carries peace. I do not accuse. I do not condemn the soul that is returning, and I do not scold the heart that is willing to surrender. I simply bring light to the exact place it is needed. When that light shines in, you will feel lighter, not heavier. You will breathe more freely, not gasp for air. You will feel hope rise, not despair. I never expose to humiliate you. I expose to liberate you. When you feel something in you being shaken, it is not condemnation, it is transformation. To step into what I am building, you must release the things that once helped you survive, but no longer serve what brings life. There were defense mechanisms that kept you from collapsing in the past, pulling away, pretending to be stronger than you felt, avoiding the real pain, running from needed conversations, shielding your soul behind invisible walls whenever you felt threatened. These mechanisms once helped you. They once kept you from breaking. They once carried you through seasons too painful to bear. They once preserved what little stability you had left. But now I say to you, their assignment is finished. A wall that once protected you can become a prison if it is not dismantled at the right time. You have lived so long behind layers of self-made protection that you no longer realize they have limited you, confusing numbness with safety, stagnation with stability. My beloved child, this is the moment I take the holy hammer and strike the old stones, not to crush you, but to break off what has been suffocating you. I do not destroy your essence. I remove what has hidden your true identity. I am not asking you to become someone else. I am calling you back to who you truly are, who I designed from the beginning. The reconstruction I am doing will never turn you into another person. It will restore you to the strongest version of yourself that I placed within you since the dawn of your existence. You will not lose yourself. You will find yourself again. My child, this recreation will heighten your spiritual senses. Old fears will surface so they can be dismantled. Buried emotions will rise so they can be released. Blurry memories will return so they can be healed. Words that once wounded you will surface so they no longer travel with you. Do not see this as regression. You are being healed. Do not think you are slipping backward. You are being renewed. Do not think your mind is chaotic. You are being cleansed. Raw stone cannot become a precious gem without being cut. A seed cannot become a tree without breaking open. Soil cannot bloom without being turned. And so it is with your soul to flourish. It must be touched. And in this very process, I will teach you a crucial lesson. What I build does not require you to become perfect. It requires you to become truthful. I see you more truthfully than you see yourself. I know your weaknesses, but I am neither shocked nor discouraged by them. I never expected you to be perfect before I could use you. If I only used perfect people, I would use no one. I use the surrendered, the willing, those who say yes even while trembling. Your trembling does not mean you are weak. It means you are closer to my glory than you have ever been. When this reconstruction is complete, you will realize that what I am preparing is not a minor shift, but a profound turning point that will shape your entire life. I am positioning you not just to survive challenges, but to overcome them with the stature of one shaped by my hand. You will see disruptions through new eyes. Understand what once terrified you with a new peace, and no longer interpret everything through fear, but through the trust that has been forged within you. You will no longer be pulled back into old cycles because I am removing the very mechanisms that kept you repeating them. I am breaking the cycle not through a sudden miracle, but through an inward renewal. What I am preparing to give you after this process is not temporary comfort, but power. Power to step into territories you once believed you were never capable of entering. Promises that once hung in the air will fall into your life like rain. Things you once called dreams will become reality. Doors you once knocked on without answer will open without you needing to force them. Not because you are more deserving than others, but because you have allowed me to recreate your soul in a way only the surrendered can experience. This reconstruction is grace, not pressure. You do not have to perform it yourself. I am the one doing it for you. All you need is to say yes every time I touch something. All you need is to stand still in the light. All you need is to let me lead and allow me to tear down what must be torn down. My beloved child, you are stepping onto the threshold of a new reality. The light has already begun to shine through the cracks of what I have just dismantled. And now you are moving toward the place where the door will open in a way unlike anything you have experienced before. If, in the earlier parts, I dug deep, purified, and prepared, then this is the part where I allow you to sense the first signs of a season of opening. A season in which you will witness how I carve pathways your imagination could never have reached. These will not be paths you found for yourself, but paths I have laid out, not doors you knocked on, but doors I chose for you. Doors that were prepared long before you understood my intentions for your life. There are doors of the soul that cannot be opened by effort. They open through the agreement of your spirit with my will. I do not drag you through passages you are not yet ready for. I lead you in when your heart has softened, when your pride has lowered, when your fears have been called out of the dark, when your soul has ceased resisting the process I am working. The doors of this third phase are not open to those still clinging to what I asked them to release, but to those willing to lay down their own wisdom to receive mine. And because you have allowed me to go deep into every layer of your soul, I can now bring you into this season, the season in which my hand shifts from dismantling to building. From here on, every movement in your life will bear my fingerprints more clearly than before, yet also more subtly, requiring your soul to be more sensitive in order to recognize them. My child, to enter the season of open doors, you must understand that before every door I open, I always sow a change in your inner perception. The circumstances will not always shift first. Sometimes the earliest sign is the change in how you see yourself, how you respond to trials, and how you receive the truth I speak. If your heart starts to move into peace in situations that once made you tremble, that is the sign that a door is opening. If you find yourself no longer shaken by old words, that is the sign that I have removed chains. If the things that once made you retreat no longer hold the same power, that is the sign that a new mantle of authority is resting upon your shoulders. The spiritual door always opens before the earthly one does. Therefore, you must recognize this. The lightness you feel is not a fleeting mood. It is evidence that I have been working in the deepest place. What I change inside will soon become reality outside. My beloved child, when a soul reaches this stage, it no longer resembles its former self. Not because I make it strange or unfamiliar, but because I make it more true than ever. The things that once fueled your hesitation will begin to lose their pull. You will clearly sense that what no longer belongs to you will drift away, and what has reached its expiration will no longer cling to your soul. You will see clarity in decisions that used to take you months just to consider. You will realize that suddenly you have crossed thresholds that once made you shrink back, not because you have made yourself strong, but because I have increased the strength inside you. The transformation within you is not a blaze that flares and dies. It is like the light of dawn spreading steadily, firmly, not rushed, yet impossible to stop. My child, when I prepare to open a door, I do not fling it wide in a moment like a sudden spectacle. I align everything, just as I aligned the events of Joseph's life from the day he was sold until the day he entered the palace, just as I guided Ruth to the exact field of Boaz, just as I brought David before Goliath at the right time, just as I spoke to Elijah through a gentle whisper after the storm had passed. I move without noise. Yet every motion is precise. Every detail fits. Do not think my process is slow. I am not slow. I am perfecting everything so that when the door opens, nothing can hinder you from stepping through. The ripening of the appointed time is how I ensure that when opportunity comes, you will not only receive it but carry it, grow through it, and turn it into part of my kingdom. When I open a door for you, no power can shut it, but before I open it, I will make sure you have left behind the doors you are no longer meant to walk through. That is why I cause you to feel discomfort in the things you once thought were fine. That is why you no longer find peace in what you once clung to. That is why I allow certain things to leave you, even when your soul does not fully understand. I am not stripping you. I am positioning you. Not every closed door is lost. Some closed doors are my way of clearing the way. In this part of the journey, I want you to learn something decisive. Not every movement comes from the enemy. Some shifts come directly from me to bring you into alignment. When I reposition your work, it is not to remove your source of life, but to bring you into a broader land. When I redirect relationships, it is not to leave you lonely, but to give you the right companions. When I separate you from an environment that feels familiar, it is not punishment, but sanctification. A transitional season is never meant to make you smaller. It is always an invitation to step into the maturity you were destined to carry. In this season, you will feel something very special. Your soul will begin to discern more clearly between my voice and every other voice. You will no longer be dragged by impulsive urges. You will no longer let human opinions chart your steps. You will no longer open your heart to words that wound your spirit. I am tuning the frequency of your soul so it aligns with my speaking. This is what will protect you from detours, from doors that look right but are not mine, from opportunities that seem attractive but do not carry peace. You will realize that peace is not just a feeling. It is the sign that I am in that decision. My beloved child, when I prepare to open doors, I also prepare the heart. I do not place something weighty into a soul that is still unstable. I do not give a new assignment while you still carry old fears. I do not grant a new position while you still see yourself through the lens of past failures. Therefore, before I open a door, I build the character, the spirit, and the inner stature of the one who will walk through it. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are meant to stand firm under the effort, challenge, and influence I am about to entrust to you. I do not open doors merely for you to enter. I open them for you to stand, to remain, and to bring my presence into that place. What you are about to step into is not a reward for patience. It is the unveiling of destiny. You have not arrived here only by enduring. You are here because I chose you beforehand. And every trial you have passed through has been preparation, so you can carry what I am about to release. I do not demand perfection from you. I ask for faithfulness. Faithfulness is not never falling. Faithfulness is rising every time you fall and continuing to walk toward my voice. And you have done this more than you realize, more than you give yourself credit for, more than you see in your own reflection. From this moment onward, The doors I am preparing to open will not be triggered by your impatience, nor by your longing, but by the timing I ordained long before you knew you needed them. The doors I open always move according to heavenly order. And the first thing you must grasp is this: the doors that belong to me never open at the wrong time, and they never open without purpose. When you see a door open, you see an opportunity. When I see a door open, I see the completion of a process that has been unfolding for a long time. You see the outcome, I see the roots. You see what happens outside, I see the inner change that is finally deep enough for me to place something new in your hands without it breaking you. Child, I have watched every movement within your soul through all the seasons of struggle, all the hours of sighing, all the nights you lay awake in a darkness that seemed to have no exit. To you, it was torment. To me, it was shaping. You thought you were waiting on me, but in truth, I was also waiting for your soul to reach the maturity required to receive what I am about to give. I have been waiting for patience to blossom within you. I have been waiting for trust that is not based on emotion. I have been waiting for your heart to soften after life's collisions. I have been waiting for depth to replace haste. I have been waiting for the true voice of your soul to speak, not the voice distorted by old fears. My beloved child, when I open a door, it is never by chance. I do not operate by probability. I operate by intention. Nothing I allow to unfold in this season is random. I do not bring you before a door only for you to look at it and walk away. Every door I establish leads to a territory already prepared, a future already outlined, a responsibility already assigned. That is why I take time to prepare your soul before I shift the circumstances around you. And now, seeing that the strength inside you is sufficient to step forward, I am beginning to move the external realm in a way that is clearer, more subtle, and yet more powerful than before. You will recognize my opening not by loudness but by the orchestration so synchronized that it will make you pause in awe. You will see small details aligning like pieces of a puzzle that once appeared unrelated. You will notice phrases, encounters, coincidences, and small decisions suddenly carrying significant meaning. You will see things you once dismissed as trivial becoming keys to a new phase. You will notice me using what seemed random to confirm that you are walking in the right direction. I never operate in confusion. I operate with divine precision, and when you look back, you will be unable to deny that no one but me could have arranged each detail so intricately. My child, when the door begins to open, you will feel the first shift in the spiritual atmosphere. What once felt heavy will suddenly become light. What once felt chaotic will become clear. What once frightened you will lose its power. Peace will come to you not as a passing breeze, but as a thick covering laid upon your soul, letting you know that I am very near. It is not a superficial peace, but a peace with weight, a peace with my signature upon it, a peace that steadies you even before you see the full picture. This peace is the first confirmation that my hand has touched the door you are about to walk through. I want you to notice something extremely important when my door begins to open. The doors that do not belong to me will begin to close at the same time. This is not to frighten you, but to show you that my discernment is at work. You will notice some relationships no longer hold the same connection. You will see certain tasks, projects, or directions suddenly losing meaning. You will notice that things which once brought delight no longer appeal to your soul. This is not loss, it is purification. I close what is no longer aligned, so your heart does not become distracted or wander down paths that would pull you away from what I have set for you. I will not allow anything to compete with my design for you in this season. When I open a door, not everyone will walk with you. Some people belong only to the previous season. Their presence once served a purpose, but their assignment has ended. If you try to hold on to them, you will slow yourself down without realizing it. They are not bad you, and they are simply no longer walking in the same direction. I will show you this gently but unmistakably, so you will not burden your soul with guilt, blame, or regret. A new door often brings a sacred separation, not division, but repositioning, and you cannot stand in the place I am leading you if you keep looking back at the things I have already closed. My door never opens in ordinary ways. It opens in 3 layers: the layer of the soul, the layer of circumstances, and the layer of timing. The first layer is the inner movement, the one you have endured in the earlier parts. It is where I release, restructure, and reposition the depths of your spirit. The second layer is the external shift. You will see certain things leave, certain things approach, certain things rearrange, and certain things appear at the exact moment you did not anticipate. It is not chaos, it is reordering. The third layer is the moment I say, "Now step through." This is the moment when everything within you, around you, and ahead of you aligns. This moment cannot be mistaken. You will know it not through reason, but through a certainty rooted deep within a certainty no circumstance can shake. I do not open a door and leave you wondering. When the door opens, you will know. My door does not open to help you escape the old. It opens to lead you into something greater. Many confuse escaping with being led, but you are not running away from what wounded you. You are being led to what brings you life. The door I open is not an exit, it is an entrance into a role, an identity, a mantle I have been nurturing within your soul. This is not merely a new chapter, it is a new altitude in the journey of becoming the person I wrote into your story. In this phase, I stir within you a holy expectation, not an expectation based on optimistic scenarios, but an expectation grounded in the awareness that I am moving with intention in every detail. I do not simply open the door, I go in with you. You will not stand before the new alone. I will stand beside you, speak to you step by step, guide every decision, and shield your soul from every fear that may rise as you enter unfamiliar ground. My beloved child, when the door I have prepared for you finally opens, what you will feel first is not an explosion of miracles, nor the thrill of excitement, but the weight of a sacred truth that you have stepped into a realm no longer defined by your old limitations, no longer measured by memories that once forced you to shrink, no longer bound by voices that once made you question your worth. You will feel as though the air around you has changed, as though a fog that once dimmed your sight has been pulled away, and you will see clearly that what you once thought was a destination was only a beginning. When I open a door, I never lead you to something small. I do not take you through seasons of trial, refinement, restructuring, and preparation only to place you in what resembles the familiar. I am a generous God, and when I open in a way that reflects my nature wide, deep, into a space where you will experience expansion, not reduction. When you step through, you will see a scope you never imagined you could stand in. But worthiness is not the criterion for my opening. Willingness is the key. And you have chosen willingness. That is why the door is opening. My beloved, you will realize that what you are stepping into is not random. Everything bears my fingerprints. You will see that what once seemed disconnected now forms a clear thread. Pieces that once felt lost now fit perfectly together. Things you once labeled as failures will reveal themselves as the very path that led you to this place. The rejections that once felt senseless will now stand as evidence that I did not allow you to remain where you did not belong. The seasons that seemed barren will now be laid out as proof that I used stillness to forge strength in your soul. This is not a surprise. This is the unveiling of a plan that has been kept hidden until the appointed time. When you step into the new territory, the first thing I give you is not something external, but an inner posture. I place upon your shoulders a confidence that does not come from praise or accomplishments, but from the awareness that I, myself, have chosen you for this stage. This confidence is not arrogant, not showy, not driven to prove itself, not shaken by criticism, not inflated by compliments. It is a gentle yet solid strength that causes your soul to walk as one who knows they are not walking alone. When the door has opened, I am not merely standing beside you, I go before you, clearing the way, placing my footsteps so you can walk after me without stumbling. Know this, behind every door I open there is always a sacred assignment. I do not open doors simply for you to experience something new. I open doors to entrust roles. Every new season carries new responsibilities. Every new land carries a new mandate. You do not enter the new simply to rejoice. You enter to carry my light, to become one who brings my atmosphere into spaces others have written off as hopeless. I place upon you words with weight. I deposit in you a wisdom that even you will be surprised to find yourself carrying. I give you authority to stand in places you once believed were reserved only for others. When I bestow authority, no one can revoke it, and no one can compete for what I place in your hands. You will come to see that the hardest part is not the door opening. The hardest part is maintaining the nature I have formed in you as you walk through that place. The new territory will test you in ways the old one never could. It will test your consistency, your faith, your humility, your discernment, your perseverance, not to make you afraid, but to root you more deeply in what I have taught you. A new land without new roots would make the soul unstable, but because I have deepened you first, when you enter, you will stand. You will stand not by sheer willpower, but by the truth that I laid the foundation before I opened the door. What I establish, no one can tear down. My beloved, on the other side of the open door, you will encounter new voices. Some will come to affirm what I have spoken. Some will come to test what you believe. Some will come to see whether you will hold fast to the light. I do not allow these voices to come to diminish you. I allow them to reveal that your soul has grown beyond the words that once unsettled you. You will see that what once wounded you now passes like a passing wind. Criticism that once made you question yourself will no longer carry any real power. I did not accomplish this in a day. I have been quietly working it into you throughout every season you have walked through. My child, on the other side of the open door, you will also see things you once called dreams. They will not arrive like thunderclaps, but like flowers blooming in season, quiet yet undeniable, unhurried yet unstoppable. An opportunity will come without you having to force it. A hand will reach out when you are not expecting it. A word will come that confirms your direction. A simple sentence will cause your soul to tremble with recognition that this is what I once heard from God. I open doors by causing everything to correspond with the word I planted in your heart long ago, even when you yourself doubted that inner voice. In this territory, you will see that blessing and responsibility always come together. You cannot step into expansion without also touching depth. You cannot receive more without releasing more. You cannot stand in higher places without inner strength. That is why I do not simply open doors for you. I shape you into one who can bear the weight of what I entrust. You are being prepared not only to enter, but to remain, to endure, to bear fruit, and to keep integrity in every decision. You must also know this on the other side of the door. Not everything will be easy, but everything will carry my presence. I do not promise you a land without trials. I promise you a land where no trial exceeds the strength I have placed within you. I do not promise you a path without headwinds. I promise you strength to walk through the wind without losing your fire. I do not promise that others will always understand you. I promise that my voice will always be clearer than all distortion. I do not promise that you will never feel pressure. I promise that the pressure will only make you more steadfast in your calling. Beyond the door, you will behold something profoundly important. You will no longer look back with your old eyes. You will no longer ask, "Why did you let me go through that?" You will see the answer in what I am opening today. You will realize that every tear had meaning. Every waiting had a purpose. Every moment you felt forgotten was actually when I was hiding you, until you were strong enough not to break when I brought you into the light. You will see that I never wasted a single second in the process. Every step was precise. Every delay necessary. Every change intentional. My beloved child, what I want you to recognize first is not the outward beauty of the opportunity, but the subtle yet majestic weight this territory requires of your soul. This is no longer a place where you feel your way forward like in the early days. This is where you must learn to walk as one who has the right to be there, one who is meant to stand, to carry a role, to become a transforming presence in every space I send you into. The most important thing when you set foot in the new land is not what you see there, but who you become within it. The land may be vast, but it is your soul that determines how you will experience it. As I lead you into a broader place, I do not simply want you to observe the change. I want you to be formed into someone who is worthy to stand in that new space. Not worthy because you are flawless, but because you know how to lean on me in all things. You cannot bring an old spirit into what I have reserved for your future. The enlargement of your territory requires the enlargement of your inner life. I do not call you to run, I call you to stand. Not to stand in outward posture, but in spiritual stature. Not to stand in pride, but in the awareness that I am with you. Not to stand as one who must defend themselves, but as one covered by heaven's shadow. The new land rarely arrives with a loud explosion. It comes through subtle movements. Because I do not want the scale of things to overwhelm you. I want my stillness to steady you. Once you stand there, you will realize something. I do not just open the way. I teach you how to walk it. An open path does not guarantee arrival. It is the way you walk that shapes the journey. I want you to take each step with the awareness that every movement you make is connected to a purpose greater than yourself. You are no longer someone swept along by the current of life. You are someone I have placed within the flow of a heavenly purpose. In this land, you must allow me to teach you the art of standing firm. Standing firm is not tension, it is release from fear. Standing firm is not pretending to be strong, it is knowing where your true support lies. Standing firm is not clutching everything tightly. It is letting go of what would only weigh your soul down. I teach you to stand by allowing you to face challenges that will not break you but will reveal the strength within you. I do not throw you into battle without equipping you. I allow just enough testing for your strength to awaken, but never beyond what would cause you to collapse. Everything you face in this new territory is measured by my own hand. My beloved, not every movement is a sign for you to act. Some movements are tests. Some are invitations. Some are distractions. And some are my leading. You must learn to discern them. Those who are immature in faith run after every sound. but you are not one of them. You have been trained to recognize which voice is truly mine, which voice is merely the echo of fear, which impulse comes from fleeting desires, and which gentle stirring is the guidance of the Spirit. Discernment is the light armor of your soul. It does not make you tense. It sets you free. The new land will present you with sights you have never seen, invitations you have never received, and opportunities you never imagined you would encounter. I do not want you to shrink back when you face something larger than anything you have known. I want you to step into it as someone who belongs to this new path. Do not retreat because you feel it exceeds your strength. Do not doubt because you once failed. Do not run from it because you fear being hurt again. I have healed every wound, dismantled every barrier, and removed every chain. You are no longer walking with the old version of yourself. You walk now with the version I have renewed, strengthened, and deepened. The new land is not for old fears. It is for the soul that has been set free. My child, I did not bring you here to stand and watch. I brought you here to take possession. Not possession the way the world defines it, scrambling, competing, grasping, but possession defined by my kingdom through my presence within you, through unwavering integrity, through peace the world cannot comprehend, through faith that makes darkness retreat, through wisdom that unlocks doors without you, striving beyond measure. You possess not with your hands, but with your soul. You advance not by force, but by aligning yourself with what I have given. I am leading you into this place not only so you may receive, but so you may learn to steward what has been placed in your hands. Stewardship is not merely keeping something, it is nurturing it, multiplying it, causing it to bring life to its surroundings. I do not give you anything without also giving you the capacity to manage it. That capacity does not come from your intellect, but from walking with me. The new land will not make you aggressive, it will make you mature. It will not make you fearful, it will make you wise. It will not make you proud, it will make you profound. You do not step in to display yourself, you step in to display the greatness of the one working within you. Do not use your old mind to interpret new movements. Do not use old thinking to limit the future I am building. Do not let past injuries make you suspicious of the gifts I am sending your way. Expanding your mind is not fantasy. It is believing I am moving beyond the frameworks you have previously known. I want your vision to be large enough so you do not shrink what I am doing. My beloved child, in this new land, you will begin to experience my pace. It is never too fast for you to collapse, nor too slow for you to grow weary. My pace always matches your strength, for I am the one who increases your strength. When I move quickly, I strengthen your steps. When I move slowly, I am inviting you to taste the depth of the moment. What matters is not the speed, but your alignment with my rhythm. Walking in rhythm with me keeps you from exhaustion, keeps you from wandering, and allows you to receive everything I have prepared without missing anything. Remember this, the new land will not nourish your soul unless your soul nourishes the land. You must bring light so the place awakens. You must bring kindness so the place grows warm. You must bring wisdom so the place remains stable. You must bring faith so the place opens. You are the one I have appointed to shift the atmosphere, not the one who is carried by it. You are my fragrance in the places you enter. Others will feel my peace through your presence. Others will see hope through your words. Others will witness what I have done through the way you stand. The challenges you encounter here will not resemble those of yesterday. They will be more subtle, more inward, more refined. Old land challenges were rough, obvious, and easy to detect. But the challenges of the new land come like mist, light, quiet, slipping into the smallest corners of your soul if you do not stay mindful. I say this not to make you afraid, but to show you that maturity does not come from avoiding difficulty, but from understanding the nature of what you face and learning to stand without losing the identity I have shaped within you. In the new land, the first thing you must guard is the inner trembling. It is not the outer world that weakens you, but the whispers within those quiet doubts, those faint anxieties, those subtle feelings that you are unprepared for. These whispers are not from me. They are remnants of the old season, reminders of fears that once held you down. You must learn to notice them without letting them claim your direction. When you hear questions rising within, am I worthy? Am I capable? Can I continue? Know that these are not divine warnings. They are echoes of past years attempting to cling to your steps. I want you not to listen with your ears, but to look at them through the light I placed within you. Light does not negotiate with darkness. It simply shines, and darkness withdraws. The second refined challenge of the new land lies in invisible comparison. As I lift you into a broader space, you will notice those who have gone before you, those who seem to achieve more, those who move faster, stronger, more confidently. You will be tempted to compare your journey with theirs, and in doing so, shrink yourself within the inner chambers of your soul. But my child, comparison is the thin blade of darkness. It never strengthens you. It only makes you question what I have spoken over your life. The new land is not a competition ground. It is a territory where I assign each person a field to cultivate. You do not need to look at others to know your value. You need only look at me to know your place. When your eyes drift to what others are doing, you lose sight of what I am doing to you. I do not want your gaze pulled away. I want it fixed on the light I am leading you with. In the new land, pressure often comes not from danger, but from responsibility. There are things you once prayed for, longed for, waited for, and now that you are touching them, you may feel yourself trembling, afraid you cannot carry them. You imagined that when I gave you something, joy would come instantly. But sometimes blessings carry the weight of stewardship. Remember, I never give anything beyond your capacity. I give what matches the stature of your soul after years of hidden training. The anxiety you feel is not a sign that you are inadequate. It is a sign that you are stepping into a role your mind has not yet adapted to. I will train you step by step, teaching you how to carry responsibility without exhaustion, teaching you how to hold peace even in things you have never managed before. The wisdom you need will come exactly when required. The peace you need will arrive with each breath. The strength you need will flow on the days you feel empty. My beloved child, there will be opportunities that come to you which at first glance seem attractive, wide open, even marked with the color of success. Yet in truth, they are not the path I have ordained for you. A new land always brings many options, but not every option carries my blessing. Evil things are often easy to recognize, but the things that are not from me are often disguised as good. They do not destroy you immediately. They shift you off course by just a few degrees. Yet that is enough that, over time, you find yourself standing in a very different place from the one I intended. I want you to discern not only between right and wrong, but between what is right and what is right in its timing. Every gift that arrives too early can turn into a burden. Every invitation that comes out of season can become a subtle chain. You do not need to race to grasp everything. You only need to walk in step with the rhythm I set for you. The new land will also test you through a refining silence. There will be days when you hear me clearly, and days when I lead you into stillness so deep it makes you feel as though I am far away. But my silence is never distant. It is a method of refinement, where I teach you to distinguish between my voice and the voice of your emotions. In the silence, I open your eyes to look back into your inner life, to adjust your direction, and to anchor your trust not in feelings but in the understanding that I am still working even when you hear nothing. My child, do not be afraid of silence. Silence is where I reset the breathing of your soul. The new land will at times test you with a strange kind of loneliness. When you stand among many people, yet feel as though you must face certain decisions entirely on your own. Decisions no one else can carry for you. This is not because you are abandoned, but because there are steps whose weight can only be understood by your soul and by me. I do not allow this solitude to weaken you. I invite you into a sacred privacy so you can hear my voice more delicately, without being distracted by too many opinions, too many perspectives, too many expectations. Holy loneliness is not an empty gap. It is a secret room where I build your inner stature. In that inner room, you will learn to remain calm even when everything around you is shaking, to discern even when the world is loud, and to keep walking even when you cannot see the destination. My child, the new land will also test you through unexpected changes, movements you did not foresee, turning points that require you to adjust your plans or release what you thought was certain. But know this, every surprise to you is something I have already seen. I never allow you to fall into anything that is not within the palm of my hand. When I change direction, it is not because you were wrong, but because you are ready for a higher level you do not yet perceive. These surprises are not chaos. They are my arrangements to bring you to the right place, at the right time, in the right role. Understand that no matter how subtle the tests may be, they do not come to make you collapse, but to build the inner strength you will need for greater steps. I do not make you strong by giving you an easy life. I make you strong by walking with you through what matures your soul. When you learn to keep peace while everything changes, you grow. When you learn to distinguish between my voice and other voices, you grow. When you refuse to be swept away by comparison, you grow. When you stand firm under new responsibilities, you grow. And it is this very growth that turns this land into a place of blessing rather than a place of pressure. My beloved child, what I must do next is place into your hands principles for guarding your soul, so you are not swayed by invisible winds, not pulled off center by voices that are not from me, and not drawn into temptations that appear harmless, yet have the power to pull you away from your sacred center. For if the new land opens wide fields of opportunity, it also opens space for inner fluctuations to slip in. But when your soul is anchored in me, no movement can truly shake you. The first thing you must learn is the art of keeping your mind still even when everything around you is moving. The stillness I speak of is not the absence of sound, but the posture of a soul that turns toward me as its compass. Regardless of circumstance, you must learn to return to that sacred quiet, where you lower the volume of your emotions and raise the volume of the Spirit's whisper in the depths of your inner being. There will be days when outside noise rushes in like waves breaking on the shore, threatening to drown out your ability to think. But in a single moment when you turn back to the inner chamber of your heart, where I dwell, everything will become clear again. A person who holds that stillness is not someone who never faces trials, but someone who knows that peace does not come from everything being fixed, but from trust being placed in the right place. The second thing you must guard is a steady, spiritual rhythm of breath, neither rushed nor careless, but the breath of communion with me, a continuous flow that keeps your soul from drying out. Many step into the new land full of excitement, yet soon burn out, because they believe that blessing can be sustained by initial enthusiasm, when in fact it can only be sustained by a regular connection with me. You do not need long, dramatic prayers to prove anything. Sometimes a single deep breath, bringing your focus back to me, is enough to realign your entire day. I am not looking for rituals that echo loudly. I am looking for hearts that return to me whenever they need fresh strength. That rhythm is the lifeline that keeps you from losing yourself when the new land requires you to move faster and farther. Another thing you must know in order to guard your soul is how to listen with discernment, not just hearing sounds, but perceiving the nature of what you hear. In the new land, not every sweet word comes from me, and not every warning carries a negative meaning. Discernment is a great gift I desire to give you, so you can know what to hold, what to release, what to step into, and what to avoid. Discernment is not born from mere experience, but from closeness with me. The nearer one is to me, the more clearly they can distinguish the voice of truth from the voice of illusion. You will recognize that my voice never pushes you through panic, never spreads fear, never assaults your worth, but always lifts, corrects, and turns you back toward the light. You must also learn the art of standing still when needed, because not every situation requires a response. Not every word requires a reply, and not every battle requires your engagement. There are battles I have already assigned to angels. You only need to stand still and watch. There are accusations not worth your explanation. Your silence will be your loudest answer. There are times you do not need to figure everything out. You only need to place your hand over your heart and remind your soul that I am in control. Standing still at the right time is a sign of maturity, not weakness. It shows that you have learned not to let emotions lead you, but to let the Spirit guide you. Another thing you must keep in the new land is honesty with your own heart. You can hide your pain from others, but I see into places you do not dare touch. You can wear strength as armor before the world, but before me you only need to be real. When you are honest with me, I can heal. When you pretend to be strong, the wound lingers longer. Honesty does not mean complaining. It means bringing into the light what you have been trying to keep in the shadows of your own soul. Wherever there is light, there is healing. I do not ask you to be perfect. I ask you to be truthful. You do not have to be strong before me. You only have to be real, so that I can lift you in ways you could never lift yourself. To keep your soul steady in the new land, you must also learn the art of releasing things at the right moment. There are things you have held on to for far too long, relationships that have run dry, responsibilities that no longer belong to you, fears that have solidified into habit, dreams that no longer fit the stature you now carry, and they have only made your wings heavier. Letting go is not failure. Letting go is the act of a soul who understands that certain things are meant only for a season. And when that season ends, you must free them so you can step into the new one I have prepared. When you release, your hands become light enough to receive what is coming. When you cling to what is wrong, you lose the strength to hold what is right where I am leading you. Another important thing is learning to keep your inner flame from going out. This flame is not the flare of fleeting emotion, but the fire of steadfastness, the fire that keeps you standing when everything around you no longer resembles what it once was. It is the fire of faith, the fire of endurance, the fire of hope that refuses to be extinguished by trials. This flame does not burn on its own. It is sustained through communion with me, through remembering what I have done for you in the past, through feeding your mind with thoughts that do not break you, through shutting out the words that wound you. You must learn to keep this flame alive. For the new land is not for those whose spirits are snuffed out by the first gust of wind. My child, you must learn to keep your heart tender, even after walking through pain. It is easy to harden, to withdraw, to build walls when life has wounded you. But the new land is not for hearts that stay shut. A closed heart cannot receive blessing, it cannot love, it cannot forgive, it cannot see the good in others. I do not ask you to open your heart to everyone. I ask you not to close it against the grace I can pour into every hidden corner. A tender heart is not a weak heart. It is a heart strong enough not to let old wounds define it, and mature enough to understand that life flows only into places that remain soft. I want your heart to keep this tenderness, because it is tenderness that allows you to hear me more clearly. And finally, the greatest stabilizer of your soul in the new land is the awareness that I am always near. When you know I am near, you are not afraid of the dark. When you know I am near, you do not panic at sudden changes. When you know I am near, every trial becomes an opportunity for you to witness my greatness. When you know I am near, you stop trying to control everything. You simply follow. Awareness of my presence is the foundation of the peace that surpasses all understanding, the very peace you have long prayed for. I do not arrive when you pray. I was there before you opened your mouth. I do not show up when you need me. I have been beside you even when you did not realize you were standing on the edge of breaking. Simply knowing that I am near is enough for your soul to stand firm in the new land. My beloved child, I desire to lead you into a higher realm, a realm of calling, of spiritual influence, of authority within the purpose I have appointed for you. Everything you have walked through was not only for your healing or survival, it was preparation for the moment I position you into a new role, a broader space, where your soul opens to capacities you had never imagined, and where you become the answer for needs far beyond your personal world. Understand this. My child, stepping into your calling does not begin with doing, but with recognizing that you are not a person striving to create meaning for your life. You are one who carries meaning from me, breathed by me, summoned by me, placed by me, and sent by me. You were not born merely to exist or to endure the passing years. You were born to carry a sacred imprint into the ordinary. You were placed in this moment of history not by accident, but by the intention of the one who sees across all ages. When I placed you in this time, I saw the souls needing light, the lands needing restoration, the people needing a word of lifting, and I chose you to be my instrument in those places. Do not think that your calling belongs only to those who stand on high platforms or those with admired titles. Your calling is woven into every breath, every word, every decision you make each day. It does not begin in the far places you dream of reaching. It begins right where your feet stand. Calling is not a grand event. It is the continuous flow of my presence through you. When you love someone in their moment of weakness, that is calling. When you choose kindness in a rough world, that is calling. When you hold peace in the midst of chaos so others may find refuge, that is calling. When you step into a room and the atmosphere shifts not because of your words but because of my peace resting on you, that too is calling. You do not need to search for your mission. It is already unfolding from the very place you stand. I call you into this part of your journey in the same way I called those who walked before you, not with thundering skies, but with the deep assurance that your life is tied to something greater than yourself. When Abraham was called, he did not know where he was going, but he knew the one who called him. When Joshua stood at the border of the Promised Land, he did not know the military strategies, but he knew that I went before him. When Esther was placed in the palace, she did not know she would save her people, but she knew I had positioned her at the right place and the right time. So it is with you. My child, you cannot yet see the whole picture, but you know the one who leads you. And with me, that is enough. Calling is not born from effort, it is born from union with me. You do not need to force influence. Influence will naturally blossom as you live in the flow of obedience and connection. People often believe that calling requires great strength, but in truth, calling requires only one thing: a heart that knows how to say yes. A person who says yes to me, whether standing in a kitchen, at a desk, in the quiet of night, or amid the noise of society, carries the power to shift the spiritual atmosphere of an entire place. Do not underestimate the places I have put you. It is not you clinging to them, but me using you to illuminate them. Stepping into your calling also means understanding the spiritual authority I have entrusted to you. You are not meant to walk the earth as someone weak, tossed by circumstance. You are called to walk as one who carries a heavenly imprint. This authority is not power to dominate, but power to lift, to heal, to enlighten, to set free. You do not need to raise your voice to carry authority. True authority is revealed through peace that dissolves fear, through steadfastness that silences doubt, through gentleness that breaks invisible chains. This authority does not lie in words, but in presence, my presence through you. Do not fear that this authority is too great for you. I give nothing your soul has not been prepared to hold. I have shaped you through long silent nights, through seasons that felt endlessly delayed, through the battles you fought within yourself so your heart could soften, your mind sharpen, your spirit discern, and so you would learn to lean on me instead of your own strength. What you thought were delays were actually my process of enlarging your capacity. No challenge you have faced was wasted. Every crack in your heart became a place where my light entered. And now that light will flow outward from you to touch the world. But calling is not only light, it is also a responsibility. Not the heavy kind, but the sacred responsibility of one who carries answers for the world. You are not called only to receive. You are called to pour out. You are not called only to be healed. You are called to heal. You are not called only to be restored. You are called to restore those who are collapsing under invisible burdens. You are not called only to be lifted. You are called to lift others. What I have placed within you is not meant to be stored, but to flow. For blessing is made complete only when it becomes a river, not a vault. Never forget. Your calling is never separated from walking with me. You may move quickly. You may travel far. You may even walk in the right direction. But if you do not walk with me, you will grow weary. Yet when you walk beside me, you will find everything becomes lighter, for the burden is shared. The pressure is lifted, and every decision is illuminated by a wisdom that never runs dry. I never send anyone out alone. I go with them. I go before them, and I uphold them from behind. You do not carry the calling. The calling flows through you when your spirit is aligned with mine. My beloved child, you are not only invited to walk in a new awareness, you are also entrusted with a spiritual territory. An unseen, yet very real realm where every place your foot touches is lit with light. Where the words you speak release movement in the spiritual dimension. And where your very presence carries a weight you have never perceived with your natural eyes. You assume that territory could be measured by land, property, or physical dimensions. But the territory I entrust to you is not confined by space. It includes the souls you are allowed to touch, the circumstances you are able to shift through, my presence in you, and even the environments where the atmosphere adjusts the moment you enter. To understand spiritual territory, you must see with the eyes of one who is called, not with the eyes of one merely trying to survive. A chosen one never enters a place simply to exist there. They enter to influence, to shift the atmosphere, to open paths, to dismantle the old and establish what is new. I allowed you to walk through seasons where you did not understand why you were there, why you endured battles no one saw, why you were placed among people who were nothing like you, or why you had to guard places that seemed insignificant. But now you will understand in every place you stepped. I placed into your hands a portion of territory to guard, to transform, and to mark with a sacred imprint that only you carry. Your territory does not always take the shape of a prestigious position. Sometimes it is a relationship, a job, a room, a small community, or even a fractured family. Wherever you are sent, that is your territory. Whatever place reacts with discomfort to your presence, that is your territory. Wherever you cannot walk away from even when you wish to, that is your territory. And wherever your soul awakens with a quiet knowing, I need to be here, even when you do not understand why, that too is your territory. I have not allowed you to wander without purpose. Every stop in your journey carries intention. Remember that spiritual territory is never opened through force. It is opened through authority that comes from union with me. When you step into a place with a spirit aligned to mine, you do not need to fight to prove anything. The light upon you affirms the authority you carry. In meeting rooms, your words gain weight not because you learned how to persuade, but because the kingship I placed on you causes others to listen without knowing why. In conversations, the peace you carry dissolves tension. In disorderly situations, you stand firm and clarity begins to emerge. This is not your cleverness. It is the signature of the spiritual territory you bear. Understand that your territory is not static. It is a realm expanding with every step you take. The more you walk with me, the wider your spiritual borders extend. The more you choose what is right even when it is hard, the more your invisible influence increases. The more you keep your heart upright in places filled with shadows, the brighter the light within you becomes. Those whom I appoint to territory often do not realize that their quiet faithfulness is shifting the very atmosphere around them. But I see every smallest movement, and I multiply each seemingly insignificant act you have done out of devotion. My beloved child, there are territories I have given you that you once mistook for burdens, difficult people, difficult places, suffocating seasons, decisions no one understood, responsibilities you never expected to carry. These things are not signs of abandonment. They are tests to see whether you will carry kingship even when no one is watching. If you are faithful only when you are recognized, that is not kingship. That is a need for attention. But if you remain faithful when no one notices, when no one understands, when no one knows, then, in that very place, you step into the true position of the chosen. And when I entrust territory to you, I also assign angelic helpers to go with you. You do not walk alone. Around you are those I have appointed to assist you in each season. There were moments when you believed you were standing alone in the storm, but in truth an entire invisible army stood behind you, before you, and surrounding you. You thought your prayers disappeared into the air, but they became commands in the spiritual realm, activating the angels to establish a new atmosphere around you. With every step you take, the angels step with you. With every decision you make, unseen arms support you so you will not fall. You are not a lone wanderer. You are one escorted by heaven. Territory is not given for you to possess, it is given for you to cultivate. Wherever I send you, I want you to leave my imprint there, whether it is a workplace, a small group, a spiritual environment, or even the everyday conversations you participate in. I want those spaces to carry the breath of heavenly kingship because of your presence. Every time you sow peace, you expand the territory. Every time you choose forgiveness over retaliation, the borders widen. Every time you dare to speak what is right in a setting filled with wrong, that territory is reclaimed from the hands of darkness. My beloved child, what pleases me is not the size of the territory, but your posture as a faithful steward. I may entrust you with a small space, but if you guard it with wisdom, with the right heart, with reverence for what I intend to do there, I will entrust you with more, not because you are ambitious, but because you are trustworthy. And the territory I give is not measured by acreage, it is measured by the reach of light. It is time for you to stand within your territory as one commissioned, not as one looking in from the outside. You must speak as one with authority, walk as one who carries a position, and decide as one entrusted with spiritual responsibility, not with arrogance, but with confidence in the truth I have placed on you, not with self-importance, but with the awareness that you belong where I have placed you, not with showmanship, but with the peace of one who knows they are standing in the right place. My child, what I want to lead you into now is the art of operating within your territory without growing weary, without becoming drained, without losing purity of heart, and without allowing the pressure of a new environment to erode your soul. For territory is not merely the place where you stand, it is also the place where you will be stretched, where you will be asked to reveal more, where you will encounter layers you have never faced, and where you will be positioned in situations requiring sharper discernment than ever before. I do not want you to merely enter your territory. I want you to live within it as one who carries the essence of heaven, one who does not operate by human strength, one who does not let burdens pull them down, but one who operates by the heartbeat of the Spirit. The first thing I must teach you is the art of resting in the midst of your calling. For some who are called to lose themselves because they believe that constant activity equals faithfulness. But no, my child, faithfulness is not measured by how much you do, but by whether you do what is right. Rest is not weakness. Rest is the strategy of one who knows that their strength does not come from performance, but from a sacred source. When you rest in me, you are not stopping, you are being replenished. When you grow still, you are not becoming weaker, you are being restored. When you sit in the peace I give, you are not falling behind, you are being lifted by the underground river of life that flows from me. The second thing you must understand in order to operate correctly is how to protect your inner life from invisible arrows. When you stand in territory, your words carry weight, and therefore the attacks become more subtle. When you step into a position of influence, darkness will try to make you doubt yourself. These arrows are not always launched from others. Sometimes they come from passing thoughts, the whispers that you are not enough, that you are being judged, that you should not be here, that what you are doing bears no fruit. But you must learn to recognize these arrows and refuse to let them embed themselves in your soul. You do not resist them by proving yourself, you resist them by remembering who placed you here. If I have called you, no one can push you out. If I have entrusted you with territory, no voice can remove you from it. If I have placed authority on you, no opposition can weaken it. The next thing you must know is the art of refusing to let human expectations shape your identity. When you stand in territory, eyes will watch you. Expectations will be placed on you. Praise may make you feel elevated, and criticism may make you feel wounded, but I want you to be steady, like a tree planted by streams of water, unmoved by winds, whether they blow in your favor or against you. You must not let praise make you forget who you are, nor let criticism cause you to doubt what I have spoken. Your identity is formed by the call from heaven, not by the responses of people. If your heart depends on approval, you will live in exhaustion. But if your heart is anchored in me, you will move with a stability that nothing can break. My beloved child, to operate rightly, you must understand the principle of purity in your motives. A person who stands in territory but does not guard their inner motives will soon be crushed by the weight of their position. But one who keeps motives pure, one who does everything for me, for love of me, for the calling placed within their heart, will not be worn out by gossip, will not be shaken by jealousy, will not be blinded by applause, and will not collapse under pressure. The entire endurance of a called one lies here. They know why they are where they are. When your motives are clean, you will walk without fear of drifting, without fear of human opinion, without fear of being misunderstood. The light I placed within you will adjust your steps, because it is not clouded by ambition or pride. Next, I want to teach you the art of empowering others instead of carrying everything alone. Some I place in territory become exhausted because they think every need must be met by them. Every cry must be answered by them. Every task must fall on their shoulders. But no, you are responsible only for what I assign. If you hold what I did not ask of you, you will burn out. If you try to do everything, you will diminish the very thing I actually called you to do. If you try to please everyone, you will lose the purity of your purpose. I want you to know when to say no, when to pause because I have not required action, and when to step forward because I have signaled. You are not the Savior. You are one sent to reveal me within the boundaries I have entrusted to you. Remember, operating in territory does not require you to be stronger than others. It requires you to be more sensitive to me than ever before. Those with true authority are not those who always know what they are doing, but those who are willing to listen to me moment by moment. I do not want you to rely on experience, for experience can lead to misplaced confidence. I want you to rely on my breath, on the smallest stirring I place in your heart. When you stay attuned to me, you will know when to move and when to pause, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to delegate and when to rise up to defend the territory. My beloved child, after you have walked through the journey of transition, stood firm on the foundation of discernment, been positioned within your spiritual territory, and learned from me how to operate as one who is commissioned, now I want to open to you a phase that many desire but few are prepared enough to enter, the season of unveiling, the season when what I have quietly planted within your soul will begin to sprout, grow, and reveal itself in your life in such a clear way that even you will be astonished. This is not a season of striving. It is the season in which I bring into the light what you have carried in your heart. Much like a seed breaking through the surface after days of hidden growth underground. Unveiling does not come because you force it. It comes when heaven's timing is full. Unveiling is not merely visible success, not fame, not human recognition, but the clear manifestation of what I have been doing within you throughout the seasons you thought no one saw. Unveiling begins inwardly with a new light shining through your eyes, with a maturity no longer shaken by small matters, with a steady peace that becomes the foundation of your every step. When a person truly enters a season of unveiling, the environment can no longer unsettle them, for they have been refined enough to know where they belong, to know the source of their strength, and to recognize the path I have marked. My child, unveiling in your life will begin with a shift in the way you see all things. As if someone who once viewed the world through fog now sees it through a clear morning. When your heart is aligned correctly, you will notice opportunities you once overlooked, understand things that once confused you, and perceive the subtle movements in the spirit that you once disregarded. I do not change the external first. I change the soul first, so that when the external appears, you will know how to receive it without losing your balance. Unveiling will also show itself through doors that open without you needing to knock, doors that once remained closed, no matter how hard you tried. But now will open naturally because the time has come. You will see people who once overlooked you begin to seek you, not because of status or visibility, but because the light I placed in you will begin to draw them. That light is not loud, not showy, but it carries the pull of authenticity and the depth that years of refinement have shaped. You will not need to elevate yourself, for I will be the one who lifts you in ways no one can deny. In this season, you will see the words I spoke to you in the past begin to take shape, not all at once, but piece by piece. Like lanterns being lit along the path you are walking, you will begin to see the logic behind your painful seasons, the purpose of delays, the meaning of separations, and the reason for the times you had to stand alone. When all the pieces fit together, you will realize that I was never silent without cause, never letting you wander without direction. Everything was part of the divine blueprint I wrote for you, a blueprint others cannot read, but whose details you will recognize as you enter the time of unveiling. You will be surprised to see your words carry life, to see your peace spread to others, to see your decisions no longer rooted in fear, but in wisdom from above. You will notice that you have become strong in the very areas where you were once most fragile. And you will recognize that this strength did not come from effort, but from the transformation I accomplished within you. When the soul is healed, strength emerges. When the soul is rebuilt, authority flows. My beloved child, the season of unveiling is also the season in which relationships are reordered. Those who do not belong to your new season will drift away on their own. You will not need to force release. Those who belong to your new season will naturally draw closer. You will not need to pull them in. I reorganize your relationships not to make you lonely, but to surround you with people whose spirits align with yours, people who share your direction, your depth, your frequency. Not everyone has the capacity to step into this phase with you. Those I keep in your life are those who can walk with you without jealousy, support you without exploiting you, and recognize your unveiling without fearing their place. What you will clearly see in this season is a new flow in your work, not through force or pressure, but through a gentle yet powerful rhythm. What belongs to you will come to you. What does not will not linger. I do not call you to chase. I call you to attract, not because of your personal charm, but because the grace covering you will turn impossibilities into possibilities. Others will say you are fortunate, but you will know it is not luck. It is the unveiling of my hand moving in your life. There will be moments when you feel the weight of glory, not a weight of pressure, but of divine presence increasing within you. This weight does not exhaust you, it deepens you, widens you, strengthens you. It makes your words more thoughtful, your reflections more mature, your actions more intentional. This weight is my confirmation that heaven is placing upon you things that match the new stature of your soul. It is a sign that you are walking the right direction, that you have grown enough to carry what you once could not. Unveiling is not a reward, it is the natural result of spiritual maturity. It is like the sunrise after a long night. No one needs to push the sun up. It comes because it must come. And so it is with your light. You do not need to force yourself to shine. The light within you will shine when the time I ordained is ripe. My beloved child, as unveiling begins to take shape within you, I want to lead you deeper into the essence of what is happening, for unveiling is not a momentary flash of brilliance, but a process of expansion, overflow, and endurance that will continue across generations. What I am doing in your life is not only to shape your present, it is laying the foundation for the years ahead, for the souls who will be touched through you, and for the generations you will never meet. The grace I have placed within you is not confined to this lifetime. It is designed to keep working until what I have spoken over you becomes a living legacy. True impact is not found in sudden bursts, but in endurance. And the unveiling you are stepping into is not a moment that comes and goes, but a steady and continuous light, a lighthouse for those wandering in the shadows of their lives. Some will look at you and wonder why you are so steady, why your words carry such life, why your peace flows into them like cool water. You do not need to explain. Your presence in this season has become the answer many souls have long searched for. True impact is born from a soul that has been refined. And a refined soul carries the ability to touch places you never imagined. When someone has entered their inner unveiling, their words do not just reach ears, they reach the deepest places of the human soul. What you speak will not merely inform, it will pierce, stir, and open pathways for healing. A single timely word from a mature soul can rescue a life from the edge of despair. A gentle act from you can unlock hope in a soul that has grown weary. Your steady presence can become a temporary shelter for those who no longer know where to lean. I want you to know that the influence you carry in this season is not confined to physical space. It flows through the way you live, through the people you encounter, through the decisions you make, through brief conversations, and even through the moments when you choose silence. Every movement you make carries the resonance of heaven, not because you try to impress, but because the light within you has become a part of who you are, inseparable, unhidden. Darkness easily recognizes the difference, and souls longing for light recognize you as well. My beloved child, when the unveiling reaches maturity, you will see great doors open, not so you may be exalted, but so you may lift others higher. Encounters that seem accidental will become intersections of destiny. Places you step into will not be temporary stops. They will become ground where you plant seeds. Deposit spirit, leave imprints, and awaken the next generation of those being stirred. I do not lead you into wider territory for you to stand there alone. I lead you so you may become a bridge for the souls I am preparing. True influence is always generative, meaning what you receive does not end with you, it multiplies in others. When you sow peace, others will carry it onward. When you sow wisdom, others will learn and share. When you sow courage, it will spread like holy fire in the night. What I work for you is not designed to flow in and stop. It is designed to flow through, forming a river that never ceases, bringing life to barren ground. During the season of unveiling, you will also see the astonishing alignment between what I spoke to you before and the events happening now. As if scattered pieces are finally finding each other to form the larger picture you were never able to see from one angle. You will notice that small details from the past, pains that once seemed pointless, brief encounters, opportunities you missed, words you overheard by chance now carry meaning, for they are links in the chain that led you to this moment. You will understand that no minute was wasted, No tear was meaningless. No waiting season was in vain. Everything carried purpose within my design for you. True influence does not end within your own lifetime. It flows into generations after you. There are people you will never meet who will walk through doors opened by your faithfulness today. There are children who will enter this world and grow in an environment transformed by the light you carry now. There are those who will find direction because you stood for truth at the exact moment it mattered. You do not know for whom you are paving the way, but I know. And I use every step, every word, every choice of yours to shape a legacy that extends beyond your years. My beloved child, I want you to understand that the influence of unveiling does not arise from effort, but from simply standing in the position I placed you in. When you stand there, you do not need to force strength or chase achievement. Everything will blossom in its heavenly timing. You will not have to fight to be seen. People will see you because I have placed light upon you. You do not need to prove yourself. Your presence will testify for you. You do not need to carve out the path. The path opens as you step into the right moment. In this season, you will recognize a special protection I place over you, not because you are superior, but because you carry something vital for this time. There will be traps you perceive from afar, dangers you avoid without knowing why, attacks aimed at you that will fail to reach you, not because you are clever, but because I surround you like a wall of holy fire, refusing to let anything contrary to my purpose touch the part of you I am constructing. You will move gently, yet powerfully, humbly, yet authoritatively, quietly, yet with deep impact. Remember, unveiling is not the pinnacle, it is the beginning of a greater mission. I have taken you through years of refinement, not so you would stop here, but so you could step into the season where the world will recognize me through the maturity of your life. You are living proof that I transform people not just to save them, but to use them as beacons in every generation. My beloved child, I want you to see the full picture that I have been quietly weaving through every season of your life, through every tear that felt meaningless, through every crossroads where you didn't know which way to turn, through every moment of hope, waiting, growth, renewal, and now unveiling. These are not scattered fragments. They are movements in a grand symphony I composed for you alone. And now, my child, that symphony is nearing its crescendo, the moment where fruitfulness becomes the testimony that your journey was never in vain. The fruitfulness I am about to reveal in your life is not a reward for patience, nor payment for the days you endured. It is the natural outcome of a soul that has walked deeply with me, allowing me to mold, prune, purify, and build from within. A seed, when fully matured, opens on its own to reveal life. Likewise, your soul has reached the maturity to release the life I planted within you from the beginning. I did not write your future today. Your future has always been in my hands, long before you knew my name. Fruitfulness is simply the moment you finally witness what has long existed in my heavenly design.